So not only has the cost of food, gasoline, housing increased, we also have an issue when it comes to insurance, right? Specifically home and auto insurance, right? For a lot of people, the cost of insuring your home and your cars are going up. I know for me, in particular, last year I'm with Geico, and they increased my cost for insurance twice last year. And then you also have the home insurance that's going up. So for a lot of people, this is getting to a point where it's becoming unaffordable, because not only do you have to worry about the insurance, and then like I said, you got to worry about the food, the gas, and housing. You got to worry about all these things, and for a lot of people, this is unaffordable. And of course, for most states, you can't even drive, you can't register a car or get home without the insurance part. So this is kind of a situation that needs to be solved, and for a lot of people, this needs to be resolved. So what's the cause of this? Like, what's the reason for this happening? Obviously, we have inflation, but obviously it's a little bit more specific. So I came across this article in the Wall Street Journal, and it talks about what's going on. I'm not gonna read the whole article. It's a pretty damn long article, so I'll read bits and pieces of the most important part to just get an idea like what's going on. So it says, all right, so after Allstate suffered billions of dollars in losses and failed to get the rate increases they wanted, it resorted to the nuclear option. The insurance giants threatened last fall to stop renewing auto insurance for customers in 3 states that hadn't given into its demands, which would have left those policyholders scrambling for coverage. These states blinked. In December, New Jersey approved auto rate increases for Allstate averaging 17% and New York 15% hike. Regulators in California are allowing Allstate to boost auto rates by 30%, but still haven't decided on its request for 40% increase in home insurance rates after the insurer refuses to write policies. Now, I didn't know that. When it comes to the insurance, they have to get state approval before they can, decide to increase these rates. And I think for a lot of these insurers, they're wanting to increase these rates because obviously they're suffering a lot of losses, and obviously the states are playing hardball because obviously they want to protect the consumers. But for business, they're like, we need to make money, right? We can't. It costs a lot of money to cover these things, and if we can't increase it at the rate that we need to make a profit, then it's going to be hard for us to cover the consumers. So obviously the states blink because, like I said, you need coverage. Like you need home insurance, you need car insurance. For when things happen, so you need these things covered. So obviously the states are gonna blink. So it's just they go into more detail and they talk about other things like obviously climate change, which I won't really get into because I know that's a hot topic, but they kind of talk about that as well. Sometimes you worry that they have an agenda, they're trying to push something, but going forward, so let's see what else they say. They say, all right, so insurance are coming off one of their worst years in history. Catastrophic damage from storms and wildfires is one big reason. The past decade of global natural catastrophes have been the costliest ever. Warmer temperatures have made storms worse and contributed to droughts and have elevated wildfire risk. Too many new homes were built in areas of risk of fire. As losses mounted, inflation only made matters worse, boosted the cost of replacing cars and homes. Climate change also made it harder for insurers to measure their risk, pushing some to demand even higher premiums to cushion against future losses. Now, I can understand that because things, obviously the cost of materials have gone up. So obviously because of that, then insurance is going to have to increase their costs as well to match those increases. So obviously they talk about we have the wildfires, which has always been going on, right? You go to California, they've always having wildfires, and then you go places like Florida where there's always storms. There's always risk of floods. So this is nothing new, but obviously they talk about this. They talk about it a lot in this article. So sometimes I'm a little skeptic, but I understand costs are going up. So it's just interesting to see what are some of the reasons for why their cost of insurances are going up. Because like I said, people need these things. So it's just something that they have to solve. So, all right, so now they're going to get into the cost, how much it's costing, right? So it says U.S. property casualty insurance who issue home and auto policies racked up $32.2 billion in net underwriting losses in the first 9 months of 2023, $7.6 billion worse than in the same period a year earlier, according to a December report by ratings firm AM Best. So like I said, you can see that they are suffering losses. So obviously, like any business, they're not going to be taking all these losses. They need to make a profit in order to stay in business. So they're going to want to cover these costs. So you can see that it's costing them a lot of money, and obviously they're going to put that cost on the consumer. Right? So it says, all right, so insurance premiums have outpaced inflation. Car insurance rates increased 19.2% in the 12 months through November, 6 times the rise on overall consumer prices. Labor Department data showed it was the 15th consecutive month of double-digit percentage increases in premiums year over year, the longest stretch of such high hikes since the mid-1980s, according to S&P Global. Simon Edwards drives a 2012 Mazda 5 in his hometown of Vegas, and the monthly premium for his Geico auto insurance, he said, was shot up 72% in less than a year, from $130 April to $223 now. I've been in no accidents, no tickets. Been with Geico for many years. He said, same with me. I've been no accidents, no tickets, and they shop. They increased the price of my insurance with Geico. So home insurance have faced premium increases from their own insurance, known as reinsurers. Reinsurance prices for last year were up 30 to 50%, and insurance were forced to take on more risk, said Neil Aldridge, head of the National Association of Mutual Insurance Companies. Reinsurers, almost more than any other industry, are focused on climate risk. All right. So when you're talking about insurance, right, the next thing you want to do is like, all right, you will shop for insurance, right? But even that's a struggle, right? You would like think, all right, they increase my price, I'm going somewhere else. But even people are having trouble doing that as well, right? So they talk about it here, right? So it says prices of coverage can be all over the place, forcing consumers to shop around. Nancy Peel, who lives in Lake Forest, Illinois, a Chicago suburb, contacted 3 agents last year after nationwide increases in cost of insuring her 2 homes in 2011 minivan to $18,000. According to one agent, Chubb quoted even more, $29,000. She ended up insuring with Cincinnati Insurance for $10,500. The coverages were all very similar, she said. Chubb, which caters to high net worth customers, offers services not typically available to mainstream policies. Not all homeowners have the luxury of getting competing quotes. We assume people have choices. Go shop it and you'll find it, said W. Mayfield, a Florida state senator, at the hearing last year. Well, I'll tell you, it's been shopped and you can't find it. Her district includes a part of hurricane-prone Beverly County. Among the factors pushing up the prices of auto insurance, prices and new used cars and parts have risen. More people are driving expensive vehicles and extreme weather and destroying more cars. So like I said, even if you wanted to look for it, it's getting kind of difficult to do that. And typically you would shop around when prices go up. You're like, all right, let me go find somewhere else. But even that is tough for a lot of people. So right, it says, climate change will destabilize the global insurance industry. Research firm Forrester Research predicted in the fall report, increasingly extreme weather will make it harder for insurance companies to model and predict exposures, accurately calculating reserves, offer coverage, and pay claims, the report said. As a result, Forrester forecasts more insurers will leave markets besides the high-stakes states like California, Florida, and Louisiana. Allstate CEO Wilson said there will be insurance deserts. Right, so they're talking about removing some of these insurance places from some of these high risk areas, especially like California, Florida, Louisiana, where a lot of they got California has the wildfire, Florida has the storms, the hurricanes. So these are two states obviously going to be dealing with more with insurance more because they're going to deal with more damage, right? So it says insurance deserts where private sector companies no longer will sell regular home insurance policies are already developing in high risk areas. Florida Insurance, a last resort, is now the main provider of home coverage in that state. In California, wildfires prone San Bernardino County insurance in 2021 refused to renew 1,355 policies in a zip code that abuts Lake Arrowhead, north of San Bernardino, up sharply from 157 refusals in 2015, according to any analysis by research firm First Street Foundation. All right, so what did it say? All right, so companies are choking off new business. So this one's gonna be talking about how these insurance companies are just not even advertising it in these states anymore. They're like cutting off business. Like they're like, you know what? We can't handle all these inquiries. We can't handle all these claims. So we're just gonna slow down business because right now we can't afford to insure all these places. So all these states. So it says companies are choking off new businesses by slashing up advertising, closing sales offices, or erecting barriers and getting quotes. State Farm spent 72% less on broadcast and cable advertising in 9 months through September 30th compared with the year earlier period. According to advertising tracking company Ad Impact, Geico cut back 81% data show. A State Farm spokesman confirmed ad spending was down, but said that the company didn't think tracking services completely captured its marketing spending. Geico in 2022 closed all its sales office in California, searching for an agent on the Geico website, and the alphabetical list of states skips straight through Arkansas. State from Arkansas to Colorado. California appears not to exist. A Geico spokesman and customers still have the option to buy policies in California directly from the company. So this is clearly an issue, right? Obviously, we got to figure this out because inflation is hurting everybody, right? Everything costs a lot, and if you have insurances, your auto insurance, your home insurance increasing as well, it's just gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to afford housing. Like housing is already unaffordable. So if you try to get a mortgage at a 6% interest rate, and then you got to factor in tax and insurance, then you got the insurance where you can afford it. It's just gonna make the cost of owning a home even much more difficult. And for a lot of people, especially like if you own rental property, I know a lot of people like to say these landlords are making so much money, but you got to understand, even though their mortgage is fixed, tax and insurance aren't, and tax and insurance are always going up. So you have to make up that cost. So for a lot of people, it's like it makes it tough to own these properties. So it can be a little difficult for anyone that wants to own a home, that you got to factor in these costs, even though your mortgage is a fixed for 30 years, but tax and insurance is always going up. So I wonder what your thoughts are. If you got any comments or questions, make sure to leave it down below. Hit the like button and share. If you haven't done so, make sure to subscribe. All right, so you guys take care and have a good one. Later.